Yeah, the Pharaoh, DJ Palm Tree, organic chemistry. Let's go.
Alright class, today we're going to be learning about organic chemistry, specifically IUPAC naming. We're going to learn the basics to start off with. You start by counting the longest carbon chain and numbering it meth, eth, prop, bute, pen, hex, hept, etc. Then you check for any side groups and name those accordingly. Methyl, ethyl, and butyl are examples of the most basic ones. You number the side groups based on which carbon they're on, making sure to keep the numbers as low as possible, especially for high priority groups. Finish by checking the priority list for suffixes and prefixes, and then you're done. Easy, right?
Getting on priorities, we got a list of these. You gotta go from top to bottom to see which suffix or prefixes you use. You use the suffix of the highest one applicable, and everything lower you can consider it prefixable.
For example, if an alcohol and aldehyde group are in the same molecule, you use the suffix for aldehyde because it's higher priority and the prefix for alcohol. Moving on.
How you gonna name an alkane? That's just one pi bond less than an alkene of the same kind. 3 lines alkynes ends with ein. Cyclo is the circle kind. Alkenes and cycloalkenes have an E or Z behind. Speaking of E and Z, those are diastereomers, the second type out of 3 types of isomers. The first type structural role is made by rearranging the bond. Their type enantiomers are flipped just like a mirror would.
Next up, benzene forms aromatic hydrocarbons, and it's made out of 6 carbons in a ring. It's called phenyl as a side group, but as a base with 2 groups, 2 o'clock is ortho, 4 is meta, 6 is para. After that, we got alcohols. It's a carbon chain containing an OH group, and let's not forget about aldehydes and ketones too. O on the end of the chain's an aldehyde, and if the O's a side group, it's a ketone.
When an aldehyde oxidizes, it forms carboxylic acid. If an ammonium's added, it makes it part amine. Primary amines have an N on the end of the chain. Secondary has a side group, and tertiary has 2. Now let me introduce you to a new reaction. It's the type that condenses. Man, is it full of action? It involves 3 molecules, ethers, esters, and amides. These are the last 3 types of molecules we're gonna explain. Let's start with
Ethers, which are formed when 2 hydroxyl groups react to water is released. It makes a COC bond. Next is ester. Esters formed when a hydroxyl group bonds with the carboxyl group in a special condensation called esterification. Next you have amides. They sound like amine.
Hello. How are you? Alright. Just enjoying the good weather.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have a nice seat. Yeah, so she was saying that.
Alright, second time's the charm? Next you have amides. They sound like amines. That's because they're formed when an amine and carboxylic acid react. Now you know the majority of naming in organic chemistry. Let's talk about priorities.
Back to our priorities, we got a list of these. You gotta go from top to bottom to see which suffix or prefix is used. You use the suffix of the highest one applicable, and everything lower you can consider it prefixable. Yeah, now we're gonna tell you the whole list from highest to least priority. Listen up here, folks.
Carboxylic acids are at the top, so you always use the suffix oic acid if it applies. Esters are second in line. Use the prefix oxy or the suffix OH. When you got an amide made, it starts with amino or ends in amide. Aldehydes and an al or start with ox. So just like ketones, although ketones end in -one, you probably own some alcohol. Those ones end in -all. And they can start with hydroxy and amine start just like amino acids, or they end in amine. I mean, only 4 left, and we already mentioned them. Ethers, alkynes, alkenes, alkanes. Ethers start with oxy and they end in ane, just like alkanes which end in ane. Alkenes end in ene, and alkynes end in ein, respectively. Alkanes, alkenes, alkynes start with alkyl, alkenyl, alkenyl. That's all, class. Now you can name organic molecules. Oh yeah, don't forget to order the prefixes alphabetically. Nearly forgot that.
Someone just told me the other day that it would be a good idea to show some real-life application, but there aren't really many for IUPAC naming unless you're an organic chemist. So, figured I'd just list a few examples of organic molecules. For example, butane is commonly in torches. Propane barbecues are a thing. Propane firebombs, propane barbecues, useful. There's also have a lot of aromatic hydrocarbons in stuff like perfumes, Aromatic hydrocarbons are the things that allow you to tell that your toast is burning before it turns entirely black. So those are pretty useful. Yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed the song, and smash that like button. It would really help the channel, you know, because I have a channel that's more than one video. Yeah, that'll be all.